Hi, this is Ira Gorlick, and this lecture is on network effects. Network effects is a situation that something gains value as it gains users. It's also called network externality or demand-side economies of scale. And the internet obviously is a great example. As more people are connected and more applications are put online, the value of being connected increases. And by the way, to that extent, network effects also limits competition when new entrants have to start from zero. And again, telecommunications is a great example. If you already have a network in place and you want to start a network, then you are at a disadvantage to beginning to starting your business. An interesting term in terms of network effects is the term critical mass. And that's the point where you have enough users so that the network effects take over. It comes from physics. Atomic energy has critical mass. When enough atoms get together, in a radioactive environment, they then create critical mass and you have an explosion or you have an atomic reaction. Once critical mass is obtained, the value itself creates more value, and that creates a bandwagon effect or positive feedback loop. Network effects are different than economies of scale. Economies of scale come from the benefits of production quantity or the size, whereas network effects come from the benefits of quality, who is connected. In other words, I can have a network effect of, let's say, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. I can have 5 or 6 people to create a very powerful network. It doesn't take a lot of people. It takes the right kind of people. And a great analogy to this, and we talk about it a little bit when we talk about demand side versus supply side. So economies of scale are the supply side. Network effects are the demand side. Hopefully that makes sense. So if you just increase, sizes, that's supply side. We just make the network bigger and bigger. And that may or may not have an effect. But if you create the right kind of network with the right kind of people, you increase the demand. And there are a lot of examples. Online social networks, online dating sites, online gaming sites. Clearly, a dating site with lots of users will be more appealing and therefore more valuable to a potential new user than a dating site with a few users. Banking, where a lot of ATMs and branches are helpful. I personally choose a bank that has a lot of ATMs. For me, that network effect's important. I want to be able to travel and be able to get to an ATM wherever I'm going. And Microsoft OS in business is another great example. Microsoft, I think, has about 83% of the market for operating systems in business. And that's important because when I used to send out Outlook invites in business, when they didn't have Microsoft, it would become a problem. So there was a network effect for Microsoft Office and Business, which is why Microsoft Office and Business is a dominant provider and has 83% of the market. And of course, Facebook's continued dominance is because it has so many users in its network. And the same is true for Twitter. Even though, Facebook is not that great in terms of a platform, because it is such a large network effect, it continues to be dominant. I'm going to use a couple of telecommunications examples. There's Metcalfe's law. Robert Metcalfe, who co-founded the Ethernet and co-founder of 3Com, said that the cost of a network is directly proportional to the number of cards installed, but the value of network is proportional to the number of users. Metcalfe also suggested that the number of possible cross connections in the network grows as a square of the number of computers in the network, as the number of computers in the network increases, and that the community value of the network grows as a square of the number of its users increase. And that probably explains, if you wanted to look at the math, as to why the internet has grown so rapidly, because you can see the network effect happens as the square of the numbers, the square being a large number. I say that this is only the number of users, but the quality of users. Again, this is an example of the relativism and context-based values. So we talked about it earlier. I'm a relativist, that these numbers, this network effect, there is no hard and fast number of users that it's going to be dependent on the context that the network exists on. It's relative to the context. So again, I'm a relativist. There also exists an inverse network effect. If too many people use the network, negative effects can occur, such as congestion, and that's huge in telecommunications. It's also huge in popular in popular items, because sometimes if too many people use it, it becomes seen as a trend, and many people will stop using it because too many people are using it. In the internet analogy, when too many users on the internet can cause all kinds of problems, malware, spyware, all kinds of things. Thus, network providers work hard to ensure that the capacity is managed to accommodate all users, hence network neutrality. Network providers want to manage this usage. And this is exactly where net neutrality comes in. Who and how should be involved in measuring optimum network effects is really the huge question. And there is a community interest in network effects. And this goes to our learning objective. What is the optimum role of the community in managing the internet? Understanding the network effects of the internet may help us find that answer. So if the community has an interest in network effects, because the larger the network, the greater the intellectual and cultural commons of the community. I hope this makes sense, in the sense that if the community wants to get a large network effect, because that helps the community grow, the learning community and the intellectual and cultural commons of the community, then it might be worth the community investing in the network to get to that critical mass. And this online class is a perfect example. The ability to share different ideas of education is a new form of public commons. Networks like YouTube, TED.com, Khan Academy, or Udemy are examples of how informational commons benefits the entire community. And the larger the network, the more it benefits the community. And reviews of products and services are another example. If you have a product and service review, the more people reviewing it, the more the network effect is, and the better it is. The community benefits when users are able to share information. The more benefit. And remember our discussion of information in F.A. Hayek, where the better the information, the better the decisions, and the more perfect is competition. Independent of your bias, conservative or liberal, we should all agree, I would think that we should all agree, that the sharing of information ultimately encourages economic growth. And let's look at social media and network effects. Although the barrier to entry may be high, there is no true form of monopoly in social media market. For example, Facebook, while a large dominant player, is not exclusive. Users can, and often do, use many other similar social media. All right, so that's network effects. I'm going to talk about profits, revenues, and cost in the next series of lectures. Hopefully you like this. Thank you.